Hola, this is grammar lesson number 2 for chapter 3. This lesson corresponds with page 4 of your notes packet and also page 105 of your textbook. Okay, in our last grammar lesson, we talked about AR verbs. Okay, and there's a whole list of verbs from our notes that end in AR, and they follow a nice pattern to make when you make them match up with the subject. You drop the AR off at the end and add a certain letter ending depending on the subject of the sentence. So for today's lesson, we're going to talk about 3 specific verbs that are really close but don't quite follow that pattern. Okay, so this is what you see at the top of page 4 in your notes packet. The 3 verbs we're going to take a look at are dar, ir, and estar. Okay. Now this first point is more or less just a reminder for you of the meanings of those verbs. So dar means to give, ir means to go, and estar means to be. Okay. Now before we get too far with the estar, we already have a verb that means to be. Right? That was ser. It was the first verb we ever looked at. Well, there's 2 different verbs in Spanish that mean to be. Okay. Ser you can kind of think of as being for more permanent characteristics. Things like what someone looks like or their personality. Estar is used for things that are more temporary. Feelings and location are really your 2 main topics for estar. So estar is used to say how someone feels or where someone is at. Okay. And the whole idea of having to choose between ser and estar and which verb you need is something we'll talk about in an upcoming chapter. For now, we just need to know what estar means and the 2 main situations in which to use it. Okay, the next note, this is your numero dos. These verbs are called irregular verbs. Now, the verbs from our last lesson are called regular because they follow the pattern for every form. Okay. These 3 are irregular because they have a change in their yo form. Okay. So when we go through the chart and we look at all the different forms of these verbs, we see that the yo form is different. It doesn't end in an O, but all the rest of the forms pretty much are what you would expect. Okay, so pause here if you need to, but on the next slide, we'll take a look at the charts for these 3 verbs. All right, so let's start with the verb dar, to give. Okay, you can see the different forms of dar up here on the screen. And notice that the yo form I have in red because that is the form that is irregular. So to say I give, that form is doy. Okay, so not just do, but doy, I give. So yo te doy el cuaderno. I give you the notebook. The te there is the you in that sentence, and we'll talk more about that in another chapter as well. But yo te doy el cuaderno. I give you the notebook. Okay, the 2 form das. Da is the LA usted form, and the example that we're seeing the most often in this chapter is to say something like el profesor da el examen. The teacher gives the test. Okay. So, and that's in the he or she form. Again, that was dropping the AR, adding an A. So that part of it is regular. Nosotros is damos, and the ellos, ellas, ustedes form is dan. So dan would mean they give or you guys give. Here's a couple more example sentences. Me das el lápiz? Do you give me the pencil? Okay. Kind of an awkward sounding sentence, but that would work with das. Los alumnos no dan la tarea. The students don't give the homework. All right, so dar is not one that we're going to use too often in this chapter, but know that the yo form is doy. All right, on to the next verb, ir, very common verb. Ir means to go. And we're going to be using this a lot. The yo form is voy. So, yo voy a la tienda. I go to the store. Yo voy a la escuela. Yo no voy a la clase de ciencias. I don't go to science class. So, that is irregular. The other forms are not. Vas, va, vamos, and van are, I mean, they don't look like ear, but they do have the correct endings to match up with the subject from, what we learned in the previous lesson. So voy is very irregular, and then the rest of them still follow the pattern. ¿A dónde vas? Where are you going? Nosotros vamos al café. We go to the cafe. Los alumnos van a la clase de inglés. The students go to English class. Okay. So those are the forms of ir to go. All right, our last verb to talk about is the verb estar. Okay, and again, this one means to be, but it deals with location or feelings. Now, the one that we're going to look at the most in this chapter is location. Okay. So the yo form is estoy. Okay. Estoy en la clase de español. So estoy, I am in a certain place, and you'd usually use the word en following that. Okay. Estás, ¿cómo estás? ¿Dónde estás? Okay. ¿Cómo estás? I'm asking, how are you? Okay. As in, how are you feeling today? ¿Dónde estás? Where are you? That one is a very common question. ¿Dónde estás? He or she form is está. Nosotros estamos. And ellos, ellas, and ustedes form is están. So you could say like, mis amigos están en la clase de matemáticas. Okay, my friends are in math class, giving a location. Okay, so along with the estoy being irregular, there are some accent marks with this verb. So please notice those on the tu form, el usted form, and the eos form. Without the accent marks, these words do mean something else, so you need to be aware of those. All right, so pause this video if you need to finish up the charts, but these are the 3 verbs you're responsible for in this lesson, and especially notice those crazy yo forms. Okay, and the next slide we're going to take a look at a couple of example sentences. Okay, now this conversation we're just going to kind of take a look at, especially notice these words, these verbs in blue, because they are, it's either a form of estar, dar, or ir, and one of the verbs we're talking about. Okay, so start out with numero uno. Carlos is saying, hola, señora Garcia, ¿cómo está usted? How are you? He's using that formal form. Okay, muy bien, Carlos. Luisa y yo estamos aquí. Un momento, por favor. So we are here, estamos aquí, and it's using that nosotros form. Okay, so she gives the phone to Luisa. ¿Qué tal, Carlos? ¿Dónde estás? Okay, ¿dónde estás? Where are you? Where's your location? Okay. His response in número 4. Estoy en el parque, pero voy ahora a comprar flores. Okay, think about where is he going? He's going to buy flowers. Oye, ¿qué compro? Okay, ¿qué compro? What do I buy? Okay, so Lisa thinks for a second. ¿A quiénes das las flores? Or ¿a quién das las flores? Okay, who are you giving the flowers to? ¿A quién? To whom? Okay, so who are you giving the flowers to? Notice the das you give. Doy las flores a mi madre. Es su cumpleaños. Okay, mom's getting the flowers for her birthday. So, doy las flores a mi madre. O pues, rosas, sin duda, without a doubt, you should give her roses. Okay, but notice, again, forms of dar, forms of estar, and ir in these examples. All right, so what's next? These are the 4 example sentences that you see below the chart in your notes. So both in your homework assignment as well as in your packet, please translate these 4 into English. If you have any questions, let me know in the assignment. And your secret word for the day is flores.